Oh, that was cool. I don't know what I just did.
Hello.
I was moving the mouse out of the way, and it's just like.
Now we can see everything.
Hey, Kelsey, maybe you want to do the intro. Would you like to do the intro to Stirring the Pot tonight?
I'll say to the intro.
You want me to do it? Why? Because I have the pot. Why are you so nervous? This is your favorite tag team.
This is my favorite tag team, but I can't do an intro.
Tonight on Stirring the Pot, we have the best in the world. Steven Azure, Steve Somerset. They are the Even Stevens. And you're on Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
How you doing? Ooh.
See, that's how we gotta start our intro.
What he did not do, though, and that was very, very well done, Mr. Jackie. Jackie G! I love calling him Jackie G. Joey G. That was well done. But what you did not say was, we are also joined by the Sweater Squad, none other than Joey G himself and Kelsey, our good friends. Yes. And they're known as the Sweater Squad this evening. And boys and girls, this is going to be a lot of fun. We've done this one time before. Look at wearing the merch. Yes. That's what we do. That's what we do. I almost went against the grain and wore a vulgar RJ Rude shirt, but I'm just saying we might dive into that a little bit later.
It's gonna happen one day where my favorite tag team, Even Stevens, takes down Insanely Rude, and it's gonna be awesome.
You know what's funny is I like these guys, and you like.
It's gonna be awesome.
I can like more than one tag team, you know.
I
I happened to see an Instagram post or something where you were bowling and you were dancing in an Insanely Rude shirt. So I don't know, Mr. Joey G. I don't know.
I know, but you know, to be
But
fair,
he was doing Somerset's song when he's.
But to be fair, every time I get a strike lately now, besides doing delete, I do this now.
No, I started that.
No, I've been doing it too.
I believe her.
When I would get a strike and we would all high five each other, I would go like this.
Oh yeah.
So I started that. Because I am the leader.
Well, we started it. Well, I mean, yeah.
Well, I'm saying as a fan.
You could just go back a little bit further in time. Really.
What a grand start. We are off already on SCP with Even Stevens and the Sweater Squad. We've only done this one time before with the Stepdads, and Jackie G and company was with us. We had a blast. And basically, we just get to hang out, and this is a show for the fans to get to know the local talent. Maybe if they don't know you, shame on you boys and girls that don't know Even Stevens. But for the boys and girls that don't know them, we get to introduce them and, you know, maybe pull back the curtain just a tiny bit. We'll see if that happens. And for the ones that do know you, we just kind of dive in a little bit more. And but this one is kind of special because we have some fans with us. And I don't even know what to call this right now. By the end of the episode, we'll figure all of that out. But what we do like to do is just have a lot of fun. It's an open forum. You know, I may drop an F-bomb now and then. I'm sorry about that.
Terrible. Tisk.
And I apologize in advance. That's why a disclaimer, if you will, sirs. But I do appreciate your time coming in because I know with wrestling back, the way it's been, the most flourishing in history wrestling is right now. And I know you guys are very busy and your schedule is very, very booked. And I know you guys are doing the drives and all of that stuff. So with the fans here, though, this is a little bit different. So I'm going to shut my yapper because right now, because I could go Mr. Steven and Mr. Steven, I could really yammer on a little bit. But this was culminated, and this is her debut, if you will. Kelsey has joined our beautiful STP. We love Kelsey. We see her at the shows with Joey.
Kelsey, baby.
This is pretty much the brainchild of our friend Kelsey. So I'm going to stop talking, and I would like to give the floor to the debuting Kelsey. Now, do we have a nickname for Kelsey yet, Joey G? Is it just Kelsey? Where are we at here?
So, a nickname. Why are you coming off camera?
No.
So, like, we used to call her Harley Pins on this old YouTube show called Metal Balls because she's got badass Harley Quinn tattoo.
Okay.
We don't have a nickname yet, honestly.
I like Harley Pins. That's what you said, Harley Pins?
Harley Pins.
I
Yeah.
haven't been in a long time. It's been a long
I like-
time.
Yes, we're bringing it old school. Yes.
It used to be called Joey Splits.
Pin.
What do you say? But I didn't hear
I
him.
didn't hear him.
Wait, who is Harley Pin? So who did she pin? I need to know.
Oh.
Wrestling.
Point.
Yes.
You.
But Mr. Steven and Steven over there, I do appreciate your time. And you guys, you really bring the fun to the table. You bring the entertainment. You bring the in-ring. You bring the character. You bring the connection with the fans. No matter if it's good or bad, the heat or the cheers. Sometimes, I don't know. It's hard to gauge you guys sometimes. And I've only seen you a couple times myself. But we do have a lot of fun at the shows. And from a fan to talent, I want to thank you for what that whole package you bring to the table as wrestlers and as a faction together, the Even Stevens. Because without that fan, that dance that I like to talk about, the fans and the wrestlers, without that dance, that little bit of connection, we don't get to have some fun like we do right now with the fandom of Joey G and Kelsey. So I do thank you from fan to wrestler that you bring that kind of entertainment and everything, that package to the table.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And from fan to, you could be a friend. A little slip of the tongue. You could be a friend. Everybody's a friend.
Okay, he dropped an F-bomb. That's the F-bomb.
Oh,
Friend.
was that the F-bomb the whole time? I didn't know.
Now you know.
Now I know. All right. All right. But fan is okay.
I'll allow it.
We'll allow it. Yeah. But this is kind of like what we do. I mean, we always pride ourselves on fan interaction. Sometimes more importantly than the wrestling itself.
Yes.
So we to get that like acknowledgement, it means a lot.
Yeah, and that's why it's really cool for us too. Like, as it's cool for like a lot of fans to like be able to talk to your favorite indie wrestler. Like, there's always kind of been that stigma, or like when it's not to indies, it's very hard to kind of have that connection where it's like you can actually talk to your favorite wrestler or your favorite tag team, whatever it is. So for us, not just people who are interested in like who we are, what we have to say and stuff like that, who appreciate our body of work, it's really cool just to make that connection with people, because that's really what wrestling's about. Like, yeah, you can do the moves, you can do the promos and all that stuff, but if you're not really like speaking either, verbally or non-verbally with the audience, if you're not making that connection, then like, what are you really doing? You're just doing moves in a ring. Like, who really cares? So like this is what we live for. Like this is what wrestling is to us.
Yeah.
Well, I like what Don said earlier, how this year alone for wrestling has been so big. And like when he took me to my first Invictus, that's where I met Don. And I wasn't, like it was the first time going to any show in like 2 years.
Yeah.
And you guys came out and I just thought it was the funniest but coolest thing. Like, hold on.
Here we go.
So
Yes.
came out with Cardigan and I was like, who are these guys? I was like, they're so effing funny. It was also entertaining.
I thought you were gonna come back with the
You gotta
shoe.
have all I know everybody that wrestled that day, you guys like stuck in my head. Like, I literally said to him, I was like, we need to go back. Like, I need to see. I was like, who were they? I was like, they were so funny. And I was like, I think I finally found my tag team that like I'm fully entertained. I'm fully behind them. I like stand behind whatever they do. And when we saw you guys again, and then that's when you turned, I didn't even care. I was like, this is so cool. Like, I finally, because like, I mean, I like Insanely Rude. I like Waves and Curls. I like a lot of other tag teams, but I was like, they weren't like my group, I was like, like, I like them, but I'm like, I wouldn't go like fangirl for her. But then I was like, oh my God, these guys are so good and they're funny. Like, and then you're personable. Like, and as you said, like, fans become friends or like vice versa. Like, I drove when I saw you guys had the Creative Pro and it was a free thing in July, I was like,
that was a very special show for us. That was a very big
I was like, we need to go. I was like, I don't care how long the trip. I got a car that's running good now, finally. I was like, let's go. My mom was like, all right, I mean, if it's a free show, go. So she
Well,
said-
you didn't know it was a free show until I texted you while
I
was at
didn't
work.
care. I was willing to pay whatever. I was like, I
you,
want to
you
go
would
to
have
the
bought
show.
her
because
ticket
it was
anyway.
my
So it
boys.
was be free for her regardless.
Yeah.
If you were
Oh
gonna
yeah, of course.
I
And,
don't care. I
we
was
were
like,
so desperate.
however long it takes, I was like, we're going. And
We were making sure we were gonna get in first row for that show too.
we
Yeah.
like
we got
I-
soaked.
We did.
Oh
And
my god, it was like
show,
so
like-
bad. I remember thinking like, oh my god, like this, we're gonna have like a bad turnout now because even though it's a free show, I'm like, the rain was like insane that day. I'm like, and people, it was their first Creative Pros first show in literally over a year and a half.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know a lot of people were excited for this, but at the same point, it's like they might just say, because I think it was like a Thursday night too. It was
yeah,
like,
Thursday night.
Well, because it was
was-
a free show, they'd be like, like at least they're not like losing money by
Yeah.
not going.
So
So we were having the show regardless.
I was not expecting to be a big turnout. Like
It
once
was
we knew like the
honestly-
weather or whatever, and it's completely blown away by like what that night ended up being.
But like the whole way home, like we just would not stop talking about it. Like just that, like Creative Pro in general was a great show. Like we brought my cousin who's really big into wrestling too,
Okay.
and he was just like they put on a phenomenal card. And it's like it goes to show, like, because I grew up only watching WWE,
Same. Yeah.
and now going to all these different shows, like he kind of like branched me out. Was like, no, like come to these indie shows, and I did a couple of times. It was called like ECPW or something.
Oh, I don't.
Like years. No. This was before
I didn't know
NEW.
you, though.
Yeah, like
Okay.
this was before like we crossed paths, and it was cool. Like I met a bunch of like the old timers, legends. It was fun. But like NEW, Invictus, like all them, they put on a show. Like it's not like you're just going to like a gym hall and like seeing a couple old timers for $20. Like you're actually getting young talent that really wants to do this. Like has the drive, has the heart, has the want, has the whole package. And it go and I don't know. Now I haven't watched a single WWE show in like I can't. Like now looking back, I'm like, wow, like I spent all that money
Honestly, though.
going to these shows, and you're right, you don't get to meet any of them. And if you do, you have to pay a ton of money. And it's literally for 5 seconds of them going, hi, how are you? Oh, great, you're my fan. That's great. Move. Like, you don't get that one-on-one the way you do with like all the independent shows. And then when you do get to meet like an old timer, they're actually personable too. Like they actually want to get to know you.
And
like,
I could tell you right now, during your guys' entrance, how much it meant to her
oh, the
when you
second
guys came
dropped.
out. No, not even that. You guys came out. You spotted her. You hugged her.
Yeah, because
She was almost she was almost in tears, like happy tears. But I'm not making
way
fun.
out.
Yeah, no, and that too.
That's the
Like,
little
To
thing.
me,
Yeah,
that was like the day when I handed my poster to Triple H. Like that's like your level is like right there, like for me as a fan, because I'm like, holy shit, like they recognize that I actually like really care about them. It's not like I don't know. I get all like they're my team. Like I brags them, and I wish I had the time. Unfortunately, my dad's very sick right now, and it's very hard to like balance work, balance being a mom, and then balance my dad who's in the hospital right now. And I'm like, I told him, he was like, we can postpone. I was like, no. I was like, but one thing my dad has always taught me, just like keep going. So I'm like, he would not want me to stop. So
She didn't want to. Like I was,
don't know.
given
Not
the
for my
circumstances with her dad right now, I was totally understanding if we could have moved this, but she didn't want to do it. So.
Hell no. I keep getting spam calls.
And I could
Sorry.
definitely also tell you
Oh,
when Invictus did the show back in
for you, my bad.
no, you're good. When Invictus did the show back in July for the one in Ossining, New York. This is literally 10 minutes around the corner from where she lives. She was so happy to hear that you guys are going to be at that show
I keep rewatching it on what's that?
on IWTV.
Yeah, I keep rewatching.
Yes.
So,
And I'm like, oh my god. And then we like to BS with you guys like outside. Like that's so cool. Like
you tried to start a three-way fight between Insanely Rude,
And
even Stevens, and the stepdads.
all the stuff
Yeah,
claiming,
that is, I can verify that.
And we were gonna fight him too. We would
were-
have.
we
We would
were
have.
there.
We would have.
like, wait, but who's the stepdad's like person? Like you're obviously like all about Insane. which is
Well,
fine.
I've also kind of been all about the stepdads
no, but you
too.
can't do that. Like if you have like
I
one
think Simon.
She said you can't
we
do
have
it.
we have
Can't do that,
rules
Joey.
here.
all these
Yeah,
tag teams. Listen,
Why not?
Because you're all about you and RJ are like BFFs on the internet. Like,
I mean, yeah, that's true. So,
like if I see something funny, I definitely message Steve all the time. I'm like, look, weather soap.
well,
How funny. Ha ha ha.
well, as much as I love RJ, I didn't get an Insanely Rude section. Stirring the pot with Don Kincaid. I got a Sweater Squad one here.
Well, because
so.
it's me. You could have asked Don to be like, "Hey, listen, can we get in?"
We've done
But
that. We've
obviously they're
tried.
being rude and don't
I
want to
love-
be on the show.
I think I love them, so we'll see what happens. But
Mr. Steven and Mr. Steven. Yeah, either one. Now this is exactly what I'm talking about when we came off the top of this interview, or it's not even an interview. It's just a conversation with talent and fandom and friends and just general conversation. But this is the connection that we were speaking of right here, because we have Kelsey, who's never seen you before. She's just a WWE kind of person, hasn't been to a show in a while. She shows up with friends because they're like, hey, come check this stuff out. So she comes with Joey G and company. I get to meet Kelsey for the first time. I've heard a bunch about her. I've seen her on the old face page, but I never got to meet her. So I get to meet Kelsey for the first time. She sees you guys for the first time, and you become her favorite tag team out of nowhere. This is the connection that I'm talking about, my friends. And the love that we give you guys, it's reciprocated. And I'd like to kind of have you guys maybe take the floor a little bit and talk to us what we're hearing right now live with Kelsey and the Even Stevens, because that's got to make you guys feel really good and be like, you know what, our work means something when we hear stuff like that. I could go on a limb and say that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could.
And not even to discredit Kelsey, but I think I'm going to. But we, she's not the one case. We get this a lot. We have our fans of different promotions where they're like, the Even Stevens are our guys.
Yes.
And that means so much to us. Kelsey, blah blah blah. Sure, she's up here, but we have a fandom that's.
Well, you guys had the little boy with the tag team belts that he made you guys.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Ryan
adorable.
Dust. Ryan Dust, who
Yeah.
made us paper tag team belts. He wrote on them the Best Brothers champions. Yep. Because
That's so
we weren't
cute.
we never won a title at the point, and now we use it on the show and brag that we're champions. And
since then we have won the actual Victory Pro Wrestling Tag Team Championship. So in the VPW we are actually double champions currently.
Technically,
Shout
yes.
out.
Yeah. Shout out BPW. Double champs, baby.
Two belts.
So you seem to be making your stamp from like you just described already, from promotion to promotion, which is so hard to do when you've never worked in said promotion. Come through those curtains or a door or whatever the entrance may be at the time. And you come through there for the first time, it's so hard to be okay, this is what we're going to try to grasp on and get them, get those fans in. Hopefully it works, because it's been working for us for quite some time now. Do you feel that is it a struggle from promotion to promotion to kind of
funny? Yeah, what just happened.
What I was gonna say, well, not even what just happened, but in general, I feel like, especially when we're debuting in a new place, we have nothing but the utmost confidence in our own ability. Well, we're not like, I don't want to say it's like an arrogance, but it's a confidence in what we do and what we bring to the table. So I feel like regardless of the promotion, we can go to this super indie level promotion where all they want to see is like high flying, like cool wrestling stuff, or we could go to some other place where it's like they just want to see characters and interaction. And I feel like regardless of what the promotion wants, we can do it. Whatever the promoter needs, whatever the fans want to see in that specific area, I feel like we can adapt our style to make sure that everybody there goes home happy, or be like, oh, even if they don't remember our names, be like, oh, the guys in the sweater vest, I kind of like them, and that's kind of like, as long as we can leave that impression on people, I feel like a promoter will be like, oh, you guys made somewhat of an impact, people remembered you, or people were asking about you, so we'll bring you back. That's like the idea. I mean, the Kelsey, literally our first time at Invictus ever. She's never seen us, like, nobody's seen us.
I would have never known. I didn't know a
knows who
single
we are.
person except for Danger Hawk, because like he's friends with my cousin.
And he lives in the same town as
yeah,
Kelsey.
like we grew up in the same town. Other than that, I was like, I didn't know a single person there.
Besides Jared.
Well, yeah,
And Wrecking Ball.
Jared's like, he's like a
All
cockroach
cheaters.
of promotions. He reminds me of Plankton.
Oh my God, I love that.
1% evil, 99% hot gas.
But like I love him. Like we've become friends. Like I think he's great. He's a great person, but he reminds me of Plankton. Like
He's great at ripping up my signs.
Well, he never ripped up mine. His associate, one of the
Hey, they saved you.
Yeah.
To be fair, they did save you from your sign
Yeah,
getting ripped
like
up
one.
at
I
the
don't know
show.
who is like this guy comes up
Jay
behind me,
Clash.
and he's
Oh,
like,
it's Clash. I
Oh,
do remember that. Yeah.
but no, like when you guys go to like different promotion, you find fans like me who like gravitate to you guys. Is it like
Yeah, sure.
heartwarming? Like how do you guys like feel? Like is it weird? Was it weird in the beginning that like people really liked you, or did over time were you guys like, yeah, we're the shit?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Fantastic question, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, we have different relationships with different types of fans. Some fans love to hate us,
Yes.
and then we feed off that energy, and then we portray a different side of ourselves. Some fans, there was a little boy at the last BPW show this weekend who, we were, coming off, and we were like, oh, you want to touch the belt? And we were like, no. And then he was calling us like, what, rats?
Rats, yeah.
Rats. And we were just selling it like we were like, that was like the most, that was like,
Outrageous.
that was our F
Blasphemy,
word.
Yeah.
That was our F word. He called us rats. Are you kidding me? And we were gonna take him, and he was ready to fight us right back.
He was ready to throw down.
And he was having a blast. And I think that was like his first, independent show too, after talking
Yeah.
to the mom. But it's a case by case basis. But we always go in, just know that we're gonna be entertaining, whether we're trying to get booed or cheered.
Yeah, regardless of like, because we do both, and like you guys see like all most of my social media, so you'll be like, oh, F this guy or whatever at VPW, and that's like, oh, we're gonna fight, because we got screwed at Creative Pro, so there is always that face heel dynamic depending on which company you're going for, which is a strange thing in independent
That's just
wrestling.
independent
That's just
wrestling,
like the business, unfortunately. Like, but I say unfortunately, but at the same point, it is kind of fun to like not be restricted to something or whatever, where it's just like, I think we've gotten to the point now where people are like, no, like, oh, like wrestling's like, it's not the 80s. Like you can't be a heel and like if you see me in public, I have to push an old lady down the street, it's like keep
Right. I was just gonna say, like, what
Like,
if you guys could
Other ways
pick?
to do it.
Yeah. There's no it's people know kind of like
It's a
what's going
gray
on, so it's a
area,
gray area. So it's like we can be heels at these certain companies or whatever, but they're like, oh, if we're still
Yeah.
fans of us because we appreciate the work, we appreciate what they're doing.
Like
And-
when I saw you guys at Northeast Wrestling in Danbury.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was really cool, because I like out of nowhere I spotted you guys
Yeah,
out
I
of
get
nowhere.
a picture instantly.
Yeah, he told us about that.
So upset. I was like, they better not be wrestling, blah blah blah.
And I was
And-
looking over, I was looking at Billy. I'm like, why does it look like the Even Stevens? And I'm looking like, those are the Even Stevens. I'm like, I better not.
But that just goes to show, like, because me and him had this long conversation, like, well, oh my god, like months ago, about like talent that wasn't hungry during COVID and talent that was hungry during COVID and prior to or after COVID, which obviously it's at a rise again.
Yeah.
But it goes to show, like, you guys from all the way in Long Island drove all the way out to Connecticut,
Mhm.
just even like get a feel for the area to be like,
Yep.
could we be interested in maybe wrestling here one day? Like, but that goes to show, like, you guys are hungry. Like, you want, like, I feel like there are some talent that just stick to their home, and that's fine. If you just, you have your everyday 7-day a week or whatever job, 9 to 5 job, and like that's your like for me, bowling, like what we do for bowling, like, all right, you wrestle 1 day a week or 1 day a month, whatever.
Yeah.
I like knowing that. I tell them all the time, I'm like, they're gonna go somewhere. I was like, them and a couple others, I was like, they're gonna make it somewhere, and it's gonna be really cool to see, like, especially when my daughter's older, and I could be like, those are my boys. Like, they probably don't know who I am anymore because they're super famous, but like, I'm there, like in Jersey, at the bar over there, like.
I don't think they're gonna forget you. So
No,
that's
unforgettable.
And,
But, that.
I'm not shy about being vocal on where I'd like to see the Steves.
Oh
any-
no,
Yeah,
your
you showed
signs
that.
are very clear.
Like the other day, I was literally standing in front of the NEW ring, like, bring the Even Stevens of the Northeast Wrestling.
And Jason Andrews, I think you guys, they've met Jason Andrews, I think.
I'm pretty
like, at
sure.
Invictus, right? Maybe,
Who?
I don't know. He's another like independent guy who's like, what, in Ohio? Like,
He's pretty quiet
he,
though.
he literally travels all the way up to like New York and
Maryland,
New
I
Jersey.
think it is.
No, I thought he like lives like down.
No, it's in
Oh,
Maryland.
it's that way.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, anyway, like he travels all the way to.
Wait,
like, come-
maybe it is Ohio. I usually no.
Now I'm confused.
Yeah, Don
No,
has
I was
lost
thinking
all
he, like-
control of this.
I know
You
he's
need
not
an
from
official.
within the tri-state like at all.
What's
and when
really-
he said he drove hours to do that show over here where I live, I was like, holy crap, that's dedication.
What's funny to me is I actually thought everybody from the first Invictus show that I saw, which
I
was
thought
on
they're all from New Jersey.
which was on the farm. Well, I thought they were in like the New Jersey, New York,
Oh, okay,
Connecticut
you're right. He's
area.
from Maryland.
Oh,
Okay.
you're at that farm show.
Yeah, I was at the farm show, so
Yeah.
I was not. I was.
she was actually she was actually 2 weeks post baby, so
Ah, very nice.
Right. Yeah,
so she was still she left me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I always thought everybody was from that area, so I'm glad to know you guys are from the New York area, you know. And then I always thought Jason Andrews was also from like maybe New Jersey or something, and
Yeah.
when I found out he was from Maryland, it just blew me away. So
Yeah, we're most of us, we're traveling, trying to take whatever bookings
Just
we
get
can.
get
whether
out there,
it's-
get your name out there. Try again. Like I mean, even like I mean, you've seen us at NEW. You know, we haven't wrestled for them yet, but that's what you do. You know, like we'll
Yeah.
take. Like why waste a day? You know, like this is what we want to do. Like for some people, you know, like yeah, you know, like this is your one day a week to bowl or wrestle. Like different
sleep,
people have different
anything.
goals. You know, for us, our goal is to get signed. Like we want this. We want professional wrestling to be what pays the bills for us,
We want
right?
that to be our main.
We want that to be our
That's-
main job.
that's
whatever.
definitely dedication.
in order to do that, you need to have that.
Love it, though.
You need to-
Paying your dues.
No,
What?
like when we were talking about like the different wrestlers that were still wrestling during COVID and the ones that weren't.
Oh,
like,
they were grinding.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh
So-
yeah, we did. It
We did
was
some
it was a
shows.
very
Tapings.
interesting year because we were doing tapings like nonstop for. We were fortunate.
closed
Creative
sets.
Pro
Yeah.
was doing like closed set Cap TV. We did a
Yeah,
couple of
that's-
things for Limitless
I
Wrestling.
want to push you off camera.
And it was actually really like funny, not fun. It definitely wasn't funny. That's the wrong word, but
we have some good content as well, though, because we were trying to think of like, oh, what do we like if we can't wrestle?
oh yeah, that
What
was
do we
I
do?
think the birth probably of Steven's update. I
No,
want to
well,
say
Steven Update
like,
came out way later.
it came out later, but I think that kind of like stemmed from the idea of like, hey, like
We did.
we still want to connect with people and still have
started
like
doing
content
skits, though.
stuff. Yes, we were just pumping out like more of like promos and like content. You know, I was doing some stuff with Stang. We were just doing
Right.
these little bits, and it was all just stuff that's like, hey, like even though like we physically can't go to training or do these shows or whatnot, like we
Right.
still want people to like be entertained by us, and
We
even if
weren't,
that's like watching
We
a
weren't even
1 minute
promoting
clip, you know.
upcoming shows. Like, we weren't actually like promoting like, oh,
I loved your cover of Judas, by the way. That was awesome.
Thank you. That was so. Yes, I noticed because
They did a cover of Judas. What are you doing?
I wanted to see if that makes it bigger.
No, don't touch it.
Does not.
But yeah, no, we are actually the next show. So our first ever Creative Pro tag team titles, our first titles of any kind.
Yeah.
Was that February show at Creative
February.
Pro? It was a 2-on-1 handicap match. We beat Bryce Donovan and we became
February of 2020.
of 2020.
Yeah.
The next show we did that music video, and we were going to come out to that. That was going to be our entrance song for the next thing because it's all the lyrics are about us just becoming tag team champions. Like
Yeah,
that was the whole point. And then we're on like it's our first time like on the poster for like a cap show. Like
Yeah.
it's this really nice poster. Like we're at the top of it. We got the belts. You know, it's like okay, like
I still have
this is it. Like we're about to fire on all cylinders here. Like I feel like that was like we just maybe get a little bit of buzz. Like let's go. That
Oh,
show literally,
and we just graduated.
and we graduated that
graduated
night. Yes,
that night.
we had both graduated from Creative Pro.
And then the world just stopped.
Yeah,
And the world.
dude,
shut
we were so we're like
it was
this.
like the day
This
the
is
world
the launch
stopped.
pad. Like we're going up. Like this is it. This is our break. Like people, we're gonna start getting bookings now. We're gonna start getting all this, and then literally the next show that poster that we were on for didn't even happen.
Well, I was working right up until the end.
I worked the whole
And,
time through.
yeah, so he
Yep.
doesn't like
worked
get
out,
it in a
yeah.
weird way. So like when I work at the mall up where we live, and it was the weirdest thing. Like I would say like 3 days before we actually closed, like I had closed the salon that day, and you could look down the hall of the mall, and it was just empty.
Yeah.
And mind you, malls nowadays are a lot more emptier than they used to be, but it was just
Yeah.
weird. Like it was an eerie kind of feeling. And I had bowled that night before, and that was our last night bowling. We went to league, and we just had this weird feeling. Like, I just knew. I was like, I don't think we're gonna be here next week.
I was kind of upset too because I had tickets for Northeast Wrestling WrestleFest and I was gonna get to see Broken Matt and I got all screwed up.
Yeah, so like it was just weird. Like, and then 2 days later, my boss had texted in the group chat and was like, "Hey, if you guys need to get your stuff, we're gonna be closed for 2 weeks." 2 weeks turned into 4 months. Like, he suffered through the whole thing. Like, he was working overtime like crazy because if you got even in anywhere near someone with COVID, you were gone for 10 days. So he tried as hard as he could. Like, it was all work, back home, work, home. And for us, it was just home. That was it. Like, you had no contact with anybody.
Yeah. I don't know what your life was like during that point necessarily, but for me,
we never hung out during that.
Yeah, we really but yeah, in terms of like the actual like job or whatever, like it was the same thing for me. Like I deliver for Domino's Pizza. I'm a delivery driver. So because I mean, who cares? Because I've been recognized before.
Yes.
Actually.
Whoop-de-doo.
What does it all mean? But it was the same thing because everybody's at home. A lot of people were ordering pizza or whatever. So I was just working like these insane, ridiculous hours too. And it was the same exact thing. Like, you can't do anything. There's no wrestling. There's no bowling. Like, I couldn't play Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, I couldn't do it. It was literally work like a 10-hour shift, come home, sleep, wake up, and just like do this.
Well, I had Animal Crossing. That was I had pre-ordered that sucker, and the GameStop in our mall was like, "Oh, we're gonna," since the mall was closing, they had to send all our orders, like pre-orders, over to the store I used to work at in Cortland.
Okay.
So I was like, "Oh, thank God." And that was when Scooby-Doo Pants was working there, so thank God he had called me to tell me that.
He was called Scooby-Doo Pants because he literally wears these Scooby-Doo pajamas
All the
everywhere.
time.
That was gonna be my first.
So I don't even remember his real name.
Kyle.
So Kyle.
And yes, he did drink Monster. So
So thank God for Animal Crossing, because I think I would have. Behind the music. That's all I did for the first like few weeks. I watched every behind the music I could possibly find.
Nice.
And that was really bad because Ario Speedwagon haunts my soul.
What's that one hilarious video of you on that you put on TikTok of your cat with the DX theme and he fell off the
Oh, my cat. I thought I would take up crocheting again. Not happening. I have the ADD span of
Big guess why she named her cat Hunter.
He was licking that when I got him.
Because it's trapped.
He gave him to me. He was when we put him in the living room. He was my Triple H. I was really gonna name him
Wait,
Finn.
what did they say? Wait, I'm curious now. What did they say? Oh no, they got that evil laugh.
So we wanted to guess why she named the cat Hunter.
And I said because it has really big traps.
Oh.
And I thought it was because it tore one of its quads.
Oh.
He's kind of yeah.
To be fair, there wasn't one small blessing that came out of like a whole COVID pandemic thing because, and it sucks that I have to like. Well, there was 2 blessings out of it. Okay, maybe 3. Wow, that's too many.
I had my child.
She had Dakota, which was the first really good thing that helped me out as my niece. Second thing is I got to discover newer
bringing the bills. She started getting a job. Started driving us around.
I discovered some new promotions during the time because I was mostly an NEW guy the entire way through, and I had no idea about anything else other than Northeast Wrestling at the time. And then I found out about Test of Strength. I found out about Invictus, Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, Creator Pro, Tough and Talented Wrestling, all these places. And that was the blessing about it because now I'm not just going to NEW. Now I'm spreading out all the other indie promotions that I'm going to. It's taking a toll on my paychecks, but I'm loving it.
And you see like the talent, it's kind of mixed where it's like you'll see the same people from NEW at Creative Pro, Test of Strength, wherever. We're all just trying to get by, just trying to get bookings.
Well, here's my weird question. So you guys are part of Creative Pro, and that's a school, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how long, as a graduate, do you get to kind of stay there, or like what's like the alumni situation? You guys get to wrestle there whenever you want, or like how does that work?
So for Creative Pro, there's really no restrictions. Like
No.
Creative Pro's always been like Brian and Pat, Brian Myers, Pat Fox, like our trainers. They've always been really big on like they don't want to like restrict us. They don't want to like keep us for themselves. Like we're there to learn. You know, we're there to learn the craft. You know, the art of wrestling. But we're also like we're encouraged, like not even like allowed, like we are encouraged to go out to other promotions and wrestle because all it is that's reps, that's experience in front of a live crowd.
Yeah.
All that does is get you better. Like
They don't
really.
they don't hold us back by
Not at
saying
all.
you can't
But how
wrestle.
long can you guys wrestle with them too as an alumni? Can you stay for however long you want, or
It's
is there like a
however
breaking
long
point?
you
Yeah,
want,
there's
yeah.
people that come back. I mean, there's people that come back even though they're signed to AEW. You know, Bear Bronson was just on our last show, you know, and he's been graduated. He's been moved on like forever. But you know, just because he doesn't train here, he's always welcomed. Everyone's
That's
always
so
welcome.
cool.
And Max
Yeah.
Caster came at the show we were at. So
Well, I definitely saw MJF flip you off while he was in the bathroom. That was awesome.
You know,
I
You know,
can't get that image out of my head.
they're denying it. But yeah, like that's what but as I said, I love the fact that I was able to spread out to other places. I'm glad. And that's why, you know, whenever I see guys from new promotions, like that's why I like going to new promotions because I'll go like
When we went to AEW, he literally goes, "Oh my God, it's that guy! Oh my God, it's
Yeah.
that guy!" And I'm like,
that was shit
"Who's
going
that
on.
guy?" And then we saw Verna. We saw like a bunch
well,
of.
I went to Invictus originally for Mike Verna. And then that's when like and I always say it to like Billy.
So for Jared,
No, Jared wasn't at the first show.
he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
Oh.
But I went for Mike Verna for the first Invictus show, and then, you know, you go for Mike Verna, you stay for the other guys. You know, you stay for the Even Stevens, you stay for Gio, you stay for Clipper Jones,
like
Dennis
Clipper
Morgan,
too.
everybody. You know, and that's like I said, I would have never found out about the Even Stevens if it wasn't for Invictus. You know, I honestly had no idea. I thought these were like guys that were like wrestling their debut at Invictus. I didn't know they were in Creative Pro for the longest time, and
Yeah, a lot of people like, yeah, that's a good point too. It's just like you see these people debut at like a new promotion or whatever, and you know, if I haven't seen it, it's new to me, you know, that sort of thing. Where it's like, I mean, you see all the time that people can be wrestling 3-5+ years, you know, and it's like they just eventually branch out or a promotion reach out to them, and it's like, yeah, like we'll come in, like we love, obviously for us too, like we're still like just trying to get our names out there as much as possible. So like there's not much that we're gonna turn down, you know, like we're gonna go.
It's just funny to like hear the different promotions because like my uncle was big into wrestling in the 80s, and like I remember as a kid like flipping through an album. There was Hulk Hogan. There was like all like original Undertaker, like when he first started, and all these guys. And I was like, Uncle Ken, where was this? And he was like, oh, Westchester County Center. And that's really what it was like. And I talk to clients now, and they find it funny that I'm like really into wrestling because the other guy on the other side is really big into. There's only two of us that are really big into wrestling the way we are. And clients say, yeah, I went to the county center all the time, blah blah blah. And it's funny when I say, oh, well, I've gone here and here and here. And they're like, oh, WWE. And like old school fans don't realize that there's all these little
Yeah.
promotions going on because WWE was just so known for just being only them, like
Yeah.
a big old monopoly. And then,
Still
you know,
to
back in the day,
Yeah,
when TNA just started in 05. And that was really good at one point. Like it was, you know, it was kind of doing what AEW is doing, is taking in all out of their talent. And I'm like, just praying. I'm like, please don't be like TNA. Like, you're going to suck up all their talent and then forget the ones that you do have, which I like a lot of their originals. Like, I love Orange Cassidy. I loved him
Yeah.
kind of before he was really like known, because I honestly thought he was just making fun of Daniel Bryan with the kicks. So I was like, oh my God, this guy's hilarious. But it turns out that's just a shtick.
And that's a
There's
big
a lot
thing.
of people in AEW that I feel like are now in a weird way are kind of getting pushed away because these bigger names are coming in from WWE, and I'm like, please don't do what TNA did, and like,
That's a really big point that I'm actually going to touch on, because I actually had this conversation with Steve just probably just like 2 or 3 weeks ago, honestly.
we had that conversation.
But yeah, I was talking about that because it's really noticeable. I mean, you're seeing it on a very big level, you know, with AEW, you know, like that's a very big stage, and you're even noticing it. But when you're in it, when you're the actual talent, you notice it even way more, especially when it affects your own booking. So for an indie tag team like Steve and I, we've been noticing where it's like, okay, like this year, like especially now, it's been a little bit harder to get into new promotions or to get into new places. And I attribute a little bit of that to being WB has been laying off a lot of people. So when you lay off, 30, 40 people every 6 months or whatever, now you have 30, 40 people who are on the indies and that
they
need
to
work.
make money.
And
They need
they're-
to get
yeah.
bookings. They need to make a living.
So it
Well,
turns
and they're neat.
around, and now it's like
I'm not
what's the point?
discrediting anybody, but in a way, if they're
They're an
blah
established
blah
name.
blah,
Yes,
formerly WWE, these smaller promotions goes, oh shit, that'll drag people. This will drag people.
exactly.
And they
So-
reserve all.
And
all
then
the
it's like you
places.
have these other talents that are so hungry, and they're like, well, we want a shot. Like,
yeah.
I
that's
touched on this.
unfortunate. Like, we were
That's-
just saying that the other like a week or two ago. We were just like, AEW has like their 3 shows now, and that's great. But it's like, but now Jeff Hardy was just released, and now I just saw a picture. I think it was like 2 days ago with Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, and somebody else in AEW, and I was like, oh well, that just goes to show we know where he's going. And it's like, but come on, there's other younger talent that are going to be less injury prone, that aren't going to need, they want this. Like, these people already have an establishment. It's not our fault they blew through their money, whatever they're doing. Like, let these younger guys come up and let them be like a legend, do a Legends contract with them, like have them pop up every couple weeks or a couple months. Like, why do they have to be booked the way a younger talent would want to be booked? Like,
Yeah,
I was touching on this the other day because I was saying
he was with Christian.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. And I was touching on this the other day, even at work. There's like a lot, like I mentioned this, I wasn't shy about this on Twitter. Is like I love going to the indie shows more for the local talent that I've come to know and gotten to know over time, like you guys, Insanely Rude, Stepdads,
yeah.
Vincent Andrews, Gio Galvano, Keith Youngblood, those names. And I don't get me wrong, I understand from a promoter's standpoint wanting to bring in that name,
Yeah, absolutely.
that bring in that name to like kind of boost your ticket sales.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also don't want to take away like an opportunity from somebody on the card
Well,
that's been with me the whole time and working.
we
their
were
butt off.
having this discussion because we would love one day, hopefully in the somewhat near future, to start our own promotion. Like,
Well,
within West
okay, and so earlier this year,
From the record, cut that from the record.
We just bleep that out.
Yeah, bleep that whole sentence out.
Why?
Breaking news.
Yeah. Just now the rumor mills are gonna pick it up.
Joey and Kelsey are really stirring the pot with this news.
The dirt sheet's gonna pick it up, and now it's
well, that wasn't the original thing I was gonna break. That I was gonna have breaking news on this thing. Going into 2022, me and Kelsey are I'm starting a second podcast with Kelsey.
We are starting.
Yeah.
That was what I was gonna bring up, but she brought up the bigger news that
Well, because we're getting on with promoters and like bigger talent. Like, I would hope that we would, like, I would like to keep it local. Like, let people see what the locals have versus, okay, cool, you can get like Christian or Edge or blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, but not everyone right now, especially with the way the economy is going, has $500 to do a meet and greet with somebody.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, when we what was it, NEW that we went to? And Big Show was like
oh God.
$300 something for just a meet and greet, not even the picture. That was an
Big
added
Show was
$100.
$120 just for a photo op.
And I'm like, I don't have that kind of money. Like,
No.
I'm sorry. Like, even just getting here, gas alone, like doing the small meet and greets. Like, shout out to Eddie Kingston, by the way. He was smoking a cigarette, and I had a fangirl moment, and he was like, "Come here, mama," and just took a picture of me for me.
Nice.
That's because
Like,
you're from
that's-
Yonkers like him.
I'm not. My parents are, but I thought that was really. He hasn't forgotten where he's from, in the sense of fandom. Like, he's like,
I
I'm
love
still
Eddie
a regular
Kingston, man.
person.
That's why I was
Like-
him for Halloween.
like, I don't know. Like, I would hope that if we ever had the means and funds and stuff, like, I would hope to give it back to the local talent, not, oh, hey, we have an extra blah, blah, blah amount of money. Let's get this person and forget all these locals. Like, that's not right. Like, it's one thing to get a legend who's like in their 80s. Like,
It's also like the amount too. Like, I know, like Creator Pro specifically, I think does a decent job of this, where we'll bring in like a name to put on the poster. Will usually be the name of the show or something like that. But it's
Yeah.
usually just that one person. Like, I know like and again, no disrespect, obviously, like any promotion, but I know like NEW will have like multiple names in their shows. Like I think
we were at their show and what they brought in. Well, I mean, like they brought in like everybody. And it's like, that was crazy. Like we were.
I know for a fact that he's like good
Eddie
friends
King,
with somebody.
Rocky Romero,
People from
Matt
AEW,
Hardy.
Right, like he's like friendly with like.
Who, Lombardi?
Yeah, he's
Well,
like really friendly.
some of the
with
guys
somebody.
are easy to bring in because they came up through NEW.
Right,
Like,
so it's like
NEW also does it the right way too, because they also like those are their that just happens to be their bigger shows, because they also have these smaller shows where local guys
arena
do get more of the spotlight. And we were at one, and they had.
which I actually personally enjoy those shows a little bit more, not to take anything away from the bigger shows, because
small scale.
you know,
that thing is a little too far.
you've been there though.
Yeah, but when I didn't live in Peekskill, like that's like 2 hours away.
But the point is, you know, like I personally like those shows a little bit more, because I feel like those, like you said, they get to showcase the newer talent a little bit better, you know, and everything. And like I said, that's why, going back to what I was originally saying, I love discovering the talent from like promotions. Then I'll be like very vocal all over my social media, and in a non-negative way, I'll be like, wouldn't it be awesome to see, you know, the Even Stevens versus Insanely Rude, Invictus, make it happen.
Yeah.
You know, or
wink,
wink.
I know I do it so much, but like, you know, I want to see people. I want to see the guys I see in one promotion somewhere else. Sometimes I love the the crowd. Like when I finally saw Insanely Rude over in Invictus, it made me so happy. And I'm not gonna lie, the little tease outside of the arena between you guys.
You're welcome.
I was literally. I was shut up. I was fanboying so hard. And you know, and then the stepdads come into the foray, and I'm like, Alex, please make the freaking match right now.
No. And you know, who knows? Like one day it might actually happen, it might not, it might happen, but I think they didn't really. I don't know if they knew who we were, and we knew who they were vaguely. But now, Insanely Rude, yeah. Stepdads, we knew who they were, but you know, it's these little smaller independent shows where you bring their attention to us, and then they see who we are, and then now we actually have like a rapport with them, and you know, we see that we recognize each other, we know who we are, and I think we both want this match as well. Now.
Yes, 100%.
Now both teams want the match.
I would love.
We just don't have.
Stepdads kind of get involved a little bit.
Yeah. But Insanely Rude. That's the match. Everybody knows that's the match.
Yeah.
That's my dream match.
It is my dream match.
You know, and we just need it just needs to get booked.
we need a date and a ring.
That's really all it takes at this point.
Alex, well, we'll be working the
the January show.
29th show.
So breaking news.
I'm gonna be yelling at Alex.
So breaking news. Because me and Kels are kind of getting our feet wet on some things. We're actually going to be working at Invictus for the 29th show in January.
Which I found out you guys aren't going to be there.
Well,
what happened?
Well, we don't know yet.
If I swear to God, if you're not there, I'm hiding under the ring the entire time. I'm just gonna be really upset. Like I'll be under the ring crying, and I'll just hand everyone what they need.
What are you going to be doing there?
Setting up the ring.
We're going to be helping setting up, taking notes. You know, get an idea on how running a show works.
Okay, so kind of like shadowing like a promoter.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Alex invited us to come do that.
How can you say no? Like that's
shout out to Alex, by the way. He's the greatest ever.
Like,
I love when he does that.
Cool. Like that's like a dream of any fan, like to go and actually touch the ring and like be a part of that. Like I mean, as a real like a true fan, like I want to see the ins and outs of it all.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be fun.
And then our favorite announcer is gonna be there, right?
Oh, Ryan. Yeah, he's always there.
Him.
Ryan's always there.
He does everything. He does announcing for literally everything.
I want to see him and what's his name from NEW. Like
Kurt?
like them have like an announcer battle off. That'd
Oh God,
so cool.
in their Texas, right?
That'd be such a cool.
Book it.
Book it. Let's do it.
Right, like announcer versus announcer, like who draws in the loudest cheers or something. I don't know how it would really work, but I think that would be cool.
So.
But with all of these tag teams that you guys have been talking about, Kelsey and Joey G collectively, the Stepdads, the Insanely Rudes, the Even Stevens, and the list goes on. And the if you kind of take those names and just think real quick, they all have this entertainment value that kind of is it kind of raises them a little bit more, catches your eye a little bit more. Like the Stepdads with their Full House kind of parody stuff and what they bring to the table and their verbiage parodies, which is, I mean, Joey G's knows
They're like a
everything.
90s sitcom.
But all of these
love a
things
90s sitcom.
That's just what they remind me of.
you've talked about the tag teams here. They all have very big characters. They've dove into this 1,000%, not even 100%, and just really embrace what they're doing, taking it on. And like Mr. Steven and Mr. Steven over here, I mean, if you don't embrace it and fully take that on in the world of wrestling to create these characters, you will not succeed by trying, it didn't really work out for the first 6 months. It's like owning a business, I say, in my opinion. It's like owning a business, becoming a wrestler. You have to give it some time and let it breathe and let it kind of, gain a character of itself and whatnot, and let it flow a little bit and see what happens. Give it a couple years. You got to invest in your store or your restaurant before you kind of see some kind of return. Don't rush it. And I think you guys, like Kelsey said, you guys are going to be stars. We're going to be seeing you on the AEW Dark and then rising up to these different platforms. Definitely. But my point being is, Mr. Steven and Mr. Steven, the characters, the time, the effort, the creativity that you put into what you're doing, big applause, hats off, and all of that stuff, because you've embraced it. You're really working it, and you're gaining these fans like Kelsey and Joey G at maybe one promotion and then another promotion. Like you said, the flavor is different with the fan bases from different promotions because of the relationships that you do build with these. So my hat's off to you, and I appreciate what you do.
And I wanted to say this, the dream triple threat match that I'd like to see. I mean, I know Insanely Rude versus Even Stevens would be dream. Yes.
No, there's like
I know that. I really want to say this because I've been dying to say this the entire time. The reason why I love these three tag teams on the indie scene the most is they remind me so much of because I grew up with the Attitude Era. It reminds me of Edge and Christian, Hardy Boys, and Dudley Boys, the three tag teams together.
Better be the Dudley Boys.
And
that was my favorite tag
I was gonna say, Even Stevens remind me of the Edge and Christian.
Oh, come on.
Well, look, Creative Pro, Brian Myers.
That's correct. That's correct. That is correct.
Yeah, but that wasn't my favorite.
Insanely Rude reminds me a bit of the Hardys, obviously.
Yeah.
And Stepdads remind me of the Dudleys, So, but that's why I feel like they're like these three are like the TLC of the indies for me,
I just feel like now it's all about tag teams. Like, I could really care less about, like, I mean, there's some singles that I like.
Oh, come on. I love Gio and
No,
Jace
I love
Major.
them, but, like,
Right.
I don't know. I've always gravitated to a tag team. I think for me personally, I don't think I'm too shy in certain things to be a singles wrestler. I think I would have to either have someone walk. I don't know. I'm not like that. Like, you can ask him. I get quiet during shows. Like, unless, like, it's one of my favorites, then I kind of come out. But
You don't get quiet.
How do I get when I went up to them? I don't talk.
Well, this is
Oh God, you couldn't even talk to Brian Myers
yeah,
at the show.
I can't. Like, I don't know if I can ever walk out with someone. So I think that could be it. Like, I like the tag team thing.
That's a funny story actually, because she wanted to get the little Brian Myers action figure before the show started.
I was like,
and she was like trying to get Ryan to like get him to come over. I'm like, Kels, just say Brian. He's like, I know, but that sounds so weird. I'm like, no, it's not. Just say hi, excuse me, Brian. And finally, I'm like, Kels, I swear, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I just had to meet you one night on Moonlight Bowling. Like, you can't just. So finally, I'm like, oh my God, Ryan. I'm like, she's not gonna. And even Ryan Peterson's like, Kelsey, just say hi. Your attention. And finally, Kelsey's like, Brian. He's like, yes. He's like, hi.
I'm like, oh.
He turned around and he said,
But like, I don't know. I think that's why I gravitate to tag teams, because I would like to have had a partner, like, go down the ring with. But it is the year of the tag team. Like, this year alone, like, Waves and Curls, awesome. They're all about their fans. They give you Hopper, which he did at the wrong time. You were a little early at that show.
Yeah, boy.
That's so cool. Like, and then I don't know. It's just I love watching all these different tag teams. The Graysons, even like, I don't know. There's just more factions now and more tag teams, and I'm really enjoying that. Like, it's not about the singles anymore.
I really like Miracle Generation and Festive Strength. They're really good.
Well, what I was gonna bring up too, with a lot of the tag teams, a lot of the singles guys, like they have their own stuff, like they have their characters. You know, they're kind of like they have the ability
The
to.
guy with the goat. Who is that guy?
Oh, Bobby Orlando.
Yeah, and then the one with the lettuce.
The Shook Crew. Oh, Leo Sparrow. Yeah.
You got some weirdos in there, man. Like, I'm in front row and I get lettuce thrown at me.
We're all a little crazy there.
Some ranch so I can
He
enjoy
threw
the
lettuce at her, you know.
Well, fantastic. But yeah, no, the thing I'll say about tag teams too, especially tag team wrestling, and with all the teams you just mentioned, I see it tremendously. You know, with like Graysons and Zane Lee Rude, Stepdads, Waves and Curls. I feel like we're so conditioned because of like that WWE mentality where a tag team is just two guys thrown together, have nothing in common, have to like figure everything out basically from scratch, or just don't, and you know it doesn't work. Whereas all those teams you mentioned, like we've all been teaming, like I think none of those teams are new. Like none of those teams were just like established in the last year. Like they've all came up and have been training together and working together and making the towns together, you know.
Like, I can't imagine any one of those like teams I mentioned, and you guys do have your singles characters, which is cool. But I can't imagine you guys, like, I would hope to God if you guys ever do get signed, like anywhere you go, like I hope they don't split you guys up, because I do see a pattern with WWE. These guys, they come into NXT as a tag team. As soon as they're called up, it's like, all right, it works, but we're gonna split you up now, and then it doesn't work because you guys have a chemistry. It's like you guys look at each other in the ring and you know what you're gonna do. And I feel like that's rare, and that's something, again, that was the Attitude Era. Like you saw that in those three tag teams.
I compare
like,
that.
They worked well together, and I don't know. I just wouldn't want to see anyone split up because of somebody else.
I compare that to like eating the same food over and over every day.
Yeah, but I eat the same cookies over and over.
Yeah, but there's a difference. Like that. Well, maybe not.
You're awesome.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
With but
you hater.
I don't know. But the point.
No, I get it. Like, you don't want to lose its flavor and stuff, but I would just hope if you guys do ever get signed, or any of them get signed, I hope that they don't forcibly make you split. I like what you guys did. Like, you were injured, but you brought in Cardigan. And regardless of how it turned out, Cardigan worked because he wears a cardigan, you wear a sweater. Like, in my head, I thought y'all were a faction. Like, because that was how I first saw you guys.
We work for a little bit.
Like, that works. Like, if you were to, like, ever fall apart or, you know, have an injury or something, bring in at least somebody to keep that name going.
Yeah.
And bring someone in that at least kind of fits the character, or at least the.
Yeah, we didn't want
to. Like, that'd be weird. Waves and Curl, and you bring in some guy that can't dance. Like, that would, it wouldn't work.
No, it just wouldn't.
Yeah, like bring in someone at least that's funny and can dance. Like, at least do the Carlton dance or like something.
I have a question. At Steven Azure. I know you at the time for the first Invictus show at the one on the farm. You had the jaw injury, unfortunately.
Right.
And I know Somerset was wrestling with Cardigan. I'm not sure. I may or may have not seen you at that farm that day. Were you actually there that day at the farm, even though you weren't wrestling? Or
that is correct. I was. I was watching from a distance.
All right. So, because like I never recalled seeing you like personally from like where I was sitting. But when I was watching the replay, I thought I spotted you because I can't. There's no way I can't miss the tattoo.
The sleeveless silver Calcos. Yeah, and that's why too. Like that was our first that was our first time there, right? That was our first match.
Yeah, and we didn't want to lose the opportunity.
Yeah, number one, like that, and that was the first thing. Like, you know, when I think the jaw got broken literally the week before that. That was the taping, and this was scheduled to be my first.
God, you didn't get it broken during COVID. Like, I hate to like bring up that, but my poor father, like he was already at the hospital for something, his treatment, but they had to bring him to the emergency room, and there's no room. Like, and this poor guy comes in and he needed stitches. He waddled in. He's like, yeah, I think I'm going to need stitches. They're like, oh, it's a 3-hour wait. So he sits down for like not even like 10 minutes, waddled out, didn't come back. And I'm like, I can't imagine with a broken body part waiting. Like, you're.
I did for 4 hours in the ER. That was that. He's the one who saved my sanity.
Yeah.
Well, you were in like what, the middle of nowhere in Maine?
Yes,
Yeah, that's why.
That's
We were in the
why.
middle of
Yeah.
nowhere. Like-
Well, over here, where we live, it's pretty known, but apparently other hospitals aren't that bad. But for my poor father, but
when 1/4 of your jaw isn't attached to your face,
you like this the whole time, like
ibuprofen and see your doctor in 3 days. That's the medical diagnosis.
I would have been like, I don't think this is normal. Like,
But anyway, the point of that was it was literally like a week before our Invictus show. This was going to be my first show in front of a live crowd since this was a pandemic at this point. Yeah, since February.
That year.
So it's February was that because this was like September, right?
It was
Or something like
September,
that.
it was like late September.
So it was like 7 months later, I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, I'm going to be on a show because it was the luxury of it being outdoors. We were eyes getting right, they were wrestle, and then to have that taken away from me was just like, because and not even me too, because I'm just like, oh, now Steve's going to lose his opportunity now because I can't compete or
well, see,
whatever.
where-
Now we're not going to be on Invictus for the next show because we're never able to get our foot in the door now. So
well,
the
so
reason
then,
why,
here's my question: how did you pick, or like, how did Phil fill in your shoes for those 2 times?
I think
that
it's because
saw?
he wrestles at Creative.
No, I get that, but like,
Yeah,
how did you go?
So going back to it, it's the same thing. Like, I didn't want us to lose our spot, and that's why I still, even when we had it, it's not like I was doing anything. So I was like, I still felt obligated to show up, and like, even if I'm not on the show officially, like, I'm not doing anything. I cleared my schedule to be there originally. Why wouldn't I show up? And still, I hadn't met Alex in person, so I'm like, I still want to meet the promoter.
Yeah.
I want to see how the show goes. I want to make sure that Steve and Phil, are okay and they're doing their thing.
Mhm.
And I'm not at home by myself being miserable, doing nothing, while my
Eating
friends are
cookies,
wrestling.
yeah.
I could not eat. But yeah, so basically it was I thinking on my feet, instead of being like, hey, you have to replace the tag team, I wanted to be fair to Steve. I still wanted him to have the booking. So I was like, I'm pretty sure like either me or collectively we said, what can we do about this? And we reached out to Alex and we told him what the situation was, and we said, we can offer you a replacement that is very similar in character and will be a perfect replacement for me. And we showed him, Phil Cardigan or whatever, and God bless Alex, he was cool enough to, run with it and go with it. And, it's funny how things work out because, who knew what the plans were for the Even Stevens if, that debut goes off without a hitch, maybe Phil Cardigan never comes to Invictus, in which case maybe we never have sweater weather, maybe our storyline with Phil never happens just because of that. So you look at hypothetical history and it's really funny to see how things like fall into line where it's just like, yeah, that moment really sucked, me not being able to wrestle, but
it kind of needed to happen.
It kind of happened. And even with like Creative Pro, like us losing the titles, when I was healed and able to come back, now I have a reason to pursue this and like come back at full force.
Did it make you more hungry?
Yeah, like that's all it is. It just made me hungrier to come back and want to do this.
Well, his jaw was broken, so everything had to be liquefied.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
once he got healed,
Very
he
hungry.
was starving for
Starving.
like anything chewable
Starving,
and anything heavy, like solid steak.
Did Cardigan at least offer you his coffee to sip on when you were?
I don't think he
Should
did.
I ask him?
What?
Should we call him?
Now, do you still have any lingering issues with your jaw from that?
In terms of the jaw itself, no. I did have to get braces, and I'm still all braced up. I'm braced for Impact. I have to wear those for, it was a year and a half from the date, so I think I actually only have probably like another 6 more months of them on if things go well. I do still have to have the corrective surgery. I have a massive underbite, so I had my wisdom teeth removed after I was healed up, but basically they still need to cut out. They're gonna cut out a portion of my jaw and push it back so that everything's lined up. So that is a surgery that I am going to have to get done in the future.
Now,
That wasn't from the injury itself, though. My jaw was already pretty messed up to begin with, just because it naturally grew and decided, hey, I'm just gonna do my own thing. So my doctor, my dentist, like they straight up told me, like when I had the injury, they looked at the X-rays, they looked at the nature of it, and they said, that's why like the guy who did to me at that one taping, like I don't even blame him and like for it at this point, because I'm like, it was a freak accident, but my doctor, my dentist made it very clear. He's like, if it didn't happen then on like the slap or whatever, like you wrestle, like any shot to the face.
Any given moment, your jaw was gonna take something.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, and if you don't get it fixed, if you don't get the braces, you don't get the surgery, he's like, it could happen again. You know, it's always a possibility. So that's why it's like, you know, I'm more careful, I'm more aware of it. You know, like when I'm doing stuff, I'm like, hey, let's, you know, I try to protect my face a little bit more when I'm in the ring, but you know, it is always still a liability. It is something I'm constantly, you know, there and reminded of. So I try to be careful or be mindful.
Now, was it wired shut in the
It
beginning?
I was wired shut for 6 weeks. During that time, I could not eat anything. I was on an all liquid diet.
Yeah.
So literally, I drank a lot of chocolate milk, a lot of protein shakes, apple juice, orange juice, and like that was it. That was the only thing I could
Did you
take.
lose like a lot of muscle?
Well, you
I lost a lot of
weight.
everything.
Yeah.
Like,
No, because I know like if you lose weight, like you can lose muscle. So it's like
Sure.
I didn't feel like I lost a tremendous
'Cause you
amount
were
of muscle because I wasn't
still
working out.
You weren't working out.
I wasn't working out during this time because because of the lack of eating, I never felt like I had the actual energy.
oh, yeah, there's no way you could have like
No,
any
I'm
type of strength to do.
I tried jogging like once or twice and like I just couldn't like it.
Yeah.
Man,
That's
that's gotta suck too, especially like you're already in the pandemic, and then now you can't eat on top of like not being able to do
I
it.
was not happy. I get
You were
honest,
angry
that was
for
the most
6 weeks.
miserable I've been my entire life was those 6 weeks, like hands
Sure,
down.
yeah.
Not even
May I ask, what was the first thing you took a bite into when you finally could take a bite into it? If
when
you
I
remember.
I believe I got unwired on like a Friday or something, and I said I wanted to go. My brother was home, my dad was home. He took me to the apartment, so I'm like, let's go get IHOP for breakfast. Like after I get this, so I get unwired or whatever, and we get to IHOP. I order my food or whatever, and then I come to find out, even though I don't have the wires on, I still can't open my jaw. It had been locked for so long that I literally had like lockjaw, like it was just completely shut. So even after I got unwired, I could not eat for another 3 days because my jaw
like
was,
imagine that just goes to show how we take advantage of like small stuff like that.
oh my god.
Like gone, like
I'd cry if that happened to me at like Taco Bell or something.
Oh, dude, when so
Maybe
literally,
tacos,
literally,
like,
if anybody around me was eating, if I smelt food, like I would
I would
just
stab you with a fork.
I was so snappy at everybody.
Let's
And
tap
my dad's eating like a saltine cracker, and I'm just like giving him the death stare.
Well,
But to
I
answer your
had implant
question,
surgery, so
to
for
answer your
a couple weeks I
question,
couldn't eat either. And I remember I was like still on like whatever medication they'd given me this day of my surgery, and I remember going, "Mom, I just need my Cheez-Its." She's like, "You can't have it." And I snatched it. I don't remember this, and I apparently tried to put them all in my mouth, and then I like spit them back out at my dad, and he was like, "You idiot! Like you weren't supposed to eat that because I had all stitches like underneath this." And
yeah.
you can't eat because you can't put any pressure because you're healing. And it was miserable. Like I probably like couldn't eat mashed potatoes for like months after that because I was like the instant ones. I could not eat it anymore. Or
Oh,
like
man.
cheddar broccoli. Ugh. Like I just got so sick of soup and all that. Like I got that. And then I remember telling you, I was like, oh my God, when I can eat again, I'm having a burger. That's what I ate. I ate a friggin' cheeseburger.
I think we went to that one where Anthony.
Yeah,
that-
like I was
that was a
like,
good
I need a
burger.
cheeseburger. Like I just need a big old greasy cheeseburger in my mouth, like right now.
Yeah, I was fortunate that I tried like massaging it, you know, afterwards, like trying to do anything to like get rid of the lockjaw, and it lasted for 3 days. And the first thing I ate was I had the IHOP that I had taken home, and I had it as my leftovers 3 days later.
Wow.
Because I said, out of spite and principle alone, I am eating this IHOP one way or another.
You're not stopping me. I'm eating IHOP.
Out
And
of
it was
spite,
really
this
good.
IHOP is being eaten.
Like I'm gonna eat it. It might
This
take me a
is
few
like
days, but I'm gonna eat it.
I love that. Out of spite, this IHOP. being-
That's probably going to be the title of this episode.
Out of
There you go.
spite,
We have been running for an hour and 10 minutes,
wait,
Nice.
and I don't think any one of us has really taken much of a breath. I've been sitting back and taking this in because I love listening to Kelsey and Joey G go back and forth with Mr. Steven and Mr. Steven, because this is what this show is all about, boys and girls. Getting the talent and the fans together, being the nucleus, STP being the nucleus. I love all of this. Oh my goodness.
Say hi.
Who is this, Joey G?
This is my little tag team partner, Dakota.
Oh, hi, Dakota.
Dakota.
Not wearing our merch.
Where's
I see.
where's
To
our
be fair, it's in the laundry at my mom's house. Very dirty.
She's the one that we have the little in the little she's running the Ghost Kid, but she's the one that has the little Best in the World shirt I was asking about a while back that I got made custom. So
She is the Even Stevens tiniest fan.
right, say hi to Even Stevens.
Hello.
Hi, say hi to Don Kincaid.
What up, dog?
She's not a shy kid girl. Yay!
Yeah.
Well, remember, Dakota, you've got them in the palm of your hand. Oh, she's not gonna do it. I
Yeah.
tried to get her to do it.
We'll work on it.
Here. High five.
Oh, she did it. Oh, there we go.
Oh, we're this
There we
close.
go.
This close.
I'll
She
take
tweet it. No? Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
take
she's too obsessed about the little ball that she got over there, the Spider-Man ball stuff. But
I do really appreciate these kind of get-togethers with the fans and the talent like this, because we would never have these conversations at the shows by maybe getting the merch or taking pictures. We only get so much time at the shows, and I know you guys are busy at the shows. So having this time, look, we have Dakota, we have Joey G, we have Kelsey, Pins, if you will. We have Mr. Steven. We have Mr. Steven. We've had such
Pointing
a
at your boy.
fine,
you're pointing at the Steves?
yes, we've had such a fine time with the wrestling fam. I love this. This is all
No,
about
not me.
outside of the ring. There is so much wrestling to be had outside of thank both of you, Mr. Steven and Mr. Steven, enough for taking the time out of your schedule and letting Miss Kelsey, Harley,
Stunner.
love that, and Jackie G and Dakota
That's my
hanging out
nose. That's my nose.
conversation.
Ah, I got my nose.
I appreciate it.
They're having extreme conversations. With this guy.
they're going
Yeah.
G, Jackie G and Kelsey, do you got anything left in the tank before we get out of here that you'd like to ask?
Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to join
For
us
real.
right here and getting to finally get
And
this. Getting
Yeah.
to, yeah, she's on everybody right now. So, oh, she just took her first bump. No.
I saw that. Sign
Good,
her up.
sign her up. Tell Brian to sign her up at Creative Pro.
No, but thank you so much. Even just like
Absolutely.
whenever I have like stupid questions to ask or anything, you guys like you never not answer. Like that's just so cool.
Yeah, no, there's no reason to like.
I really appreciate you guys doing this. I really wanted to help Don Kincaid out and get more people on that he normally doesn't have on. So I help, and I love it because I hope it like helps spread your guys' awareness. Not awareness. Is that really what I wanted to say? Gives you guys more. What's
More of a spotlight. We just try to shine
More
a little bit of a
exposure.
spotlight on yes.
Sure.
but more exposure, and hopefully it gets you guys your names out there more. So
And when we start our podcast, we know who to call.
Ghostbusters.
That's it. What are you dancing? What are you dancing?
all righty.
It's been such a great evening. Now, before we let you guys,
Bye.
what do you have? Would you have anything on the table you would like to promote? Because I mean, this is really
Yes.
what it's about: is getting the talent to know either the promotion events coming, what you got going on. Yeah,
Yes.
we'd like to promote it.
Are you talking to us or them?
Yeah,
I'm talking to the Mr. Steven.
the biggest thing. Dakota's incredible.
Hear that?
Yeah, first and foremost, yes, thank you for having us
For having
on.
us,
Like
yeah,
it does help us out. We're hoping that that spotlight or that awareness, can definitely be spread. That's big to us. Not everybody asks us to do podcasts or interviews, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we are always appreciative when
When we get
anybody
a
wants to
chance
have us on.
just to talk and have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of promotion, our biggest thing, we do a weekly
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, we do a weekly YouTube show called Steven Update, which is a play on SNL's Weekend Update, where we'll do like news reels, we'll do like just like jokes and like bits and skits with anything that has to do with us that happened in like the most recent week.
Yeah.
So if we had a show or
Usually like a previous booking,
Yeah.
something that we did recently. You can find that on our Instagrams and Twitters and Facebooks and YouTubes, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, we try to get that out there. We try to do something different than just like a generic promo.
yes.
So can you guys like call out Insanely Rude on one of your shows?
We I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we run out of content. I mean, we'll get to
yeah.
that eventually.
I mean,
Well, you should do like innuendos, like be like, that's insanely weird. Like, I don't know.
yeah, I mean, there's a reason why we're the writers of
We're
the
the
shows and not you. Yeah.
Wheel turning right now.
Yeah.
But we're gonna also, like I said,
Dakota's going in
wanna
business.
interrupt anything
It
there,
looks like.
Yeah, she's gonna get more
No,
followers.
no.
Does Dakota have anything she wants to plug? Is my
Yeah,
question.
that's what.
Dakota, did you have anything you wanted to plug? Probably her goldfish swimming school. But
Joey G, hit us with what you and Kelsey are bringing to the table, please.
well, first things first, obviously, as most of you know, you could always check me out on the Sign Rip podcast with Joey G. I've had the Even Stevens on. You're amazing guest. That was the debut episode where Kelsey did her first podcast thing. As we said, we had you right in the palm right there, as they would. I know. Don't worry. Please don't sue us. But starting in 2022, me and Kelsey will be tag teaming on our own thing,
Podcast.
calling it the Rising Star Podcast.
Who's gonna be your first guest or guests?
Who would be our first guest?
You just
Who's
need
she pointing to?
Is
I
there
already
somebody-
messaged.
Yeah. It would be
Oh!
awesome.
Is it Dakota? Dakota's gonna be the first. guest?
Dakota's the first guest.
Good
Good call.
Congratulations. Good call. Fair judge.
But yeah, we're gonna have them. We want the Even Stevens as our first guest on the first ever episode.
It would be
So
an
our
absolute-
podcast is going to be a little different. We want to interview wrestlers, promoters. We want to interview kind of like Don, the fans. We want to get
Wrestlers,
like everyone
interviewers,
involved.
fans. We want to get everybody
Peterson.
involved. I know I'm
Brian
strictly
Myers.
mostly guys within the business. Like,
In the corner.
But it's only because I was still getting to know this stuff when I started doing it on my own. So it's gonna be. I'm really looking forward to what we're doing in 2022, and hopefully we can branch out and do a lot more stuff. Maybe we'll do our own little skits on it.
No, I would like to just, get involved more with everybody.
I might do some show vlogs maybe.
that and, hand out cards and get people to listen in and,
And check us out on YouTube.
yeah, like, and if we end up watching like a pay-per-view and stuff, talking about it and talking about it with like wrestlers and other fans and get the fans' perspectives. What do fans want to see?
Oh, well, I forgot. So Mike Swicky, by the way, and Don knows who Mike Swicky is because he's been at the shows he's the guy with the giant beard that's always with us as part of the Stepdad Squad. He wanted to start a segment called the Chop Swicky segment where he has a wrestler chop him at every show. So he was mentioning that to me the other day when we were coming back from TOS. So
that sounds fire and dangerous all at the same time.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Kelsey and Joe. That's going to be fire. Fans, keep a lookout on that. Also, keep a lookout, see where Even Stevens are going. We have Mr. Steven and Mr. Steven. Collectively, they are the Even Stevens, and they bring such great value to the table when it comes to wrestling.
Sweater.
You really grasp onto what they bring to the table, and it's first. It was said right here with Kelsey, just the way she spoke of the Even Stevens, seeing them for the first time. They leave a mark in your brain, and they don't go away. That's what we love about wrestling. Yes,
and they
making
left the mark on her birthday that she'll cherish forever.
That is
Yeah.
hands
Yeah, we
down
did that,
one of the
yeah.
coolest things that we got asked to do. I am very happy with
That
that.
was awesome. Like I literally showed everyone. We were in Delaware. I was like, look, these
No, it's like,
guys.
you
love
like
that.
The setup was so awesome because I was like, "Hey, Kels, did you see the new episode of Steven
yeah,
Update
yeah.
yet?"
My idea.
And they're like, "What new episode?" And then I sent the video, and the next thing you know, when she's saying, "I'm birthday and I'm happy," and that and
I was like, what is going
she
on?
video chats me like 3 minutes later, and she's got like happiest
I
tears
was
in the
like,
world.
ah.
Oh, that's the kind of stuff. Wrestling, my friends. That's what wrestling is all about, those connections. And I know wrestling is supposed to be geared for the kids, but over the evolution
Aren't
of
we all kids at heart?
Oh, yeah.
Aren't we
you
all
know,
kids at
I'm
heart?
literally 12. It's fine. It's fine.
but
I'm gonna go eat some dinosaur chicken nuggets after.
I don't know what she's trying to do.
I think we're like
Yes.
so you're like 13.
I'm a 9.
Oh, so you're 9 years old. I'm 6.
oh wow, I'm probably about a 3.5 at this point. But this is what wrestling does. It brings us all together. It leaves us with long-lasting memories. It leaves us with friendships and relationships outside of the ring. These connections we talk about a lot on this show, and I love every second of what we talked about tonight because it just went back, the fandom, the athlete and the performer, and it just melded together as friends right here on SCP. And this was an amazing time. We ran about an hour and a half tonight, and it was so cool to have everybody hang out and just talk freely and like friends like this. It was just great. I can't thank you, everyone, especially for Kelsey, for really brainchilding this and utilizing SCP as a nucleus, and Joey G for the connection. Great time. We are right around the corner from Christmas, my friends. And what a better way to be right at the cusp of Christmas is to celebrate with our friends, Mr. Steven and Mr. Steven, Kelsey, Jackie G. Jackie G. I love that. Jackie G and our little precious present, Dakota. Love Dakota. Thank you so much for bringing her on. That was awesome.
You're welcome.
By the way, those were sweet sweater vests you guys wore for that Christmas show in Creative Pro.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And I'm wearing a sweater tomorrow. I'm gonna die at work.
Tis the season.
It is.
Tis the season.
Everybody enjoy your holidays. Merry Christmas from SC.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Vestmas.
Very best.
Merry
Christmas.
Vestmas.
This episode, Merry Vestmas. That's
Love it.
There we go.
Yes. This
Yeah,
is
I really like the IHOP one.
It's all about you.
This is Stir the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guests. We've had Mr. Steven, collectively there, the Even Stevens. We had Jackie G. We had Dakota. We had Kelsey. Collectively, they are the Sweater Squad. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us on this fine evening. Thank you.
Thank you.